Okay, everyone, and welcome to our second episode of the ITSM Global Podcast. So, with us today we have Carlos Casanova, Suresh GP, and William Goddard to kick off the first one for 2015. So,
Hello,
how is
everyone.
everybody? How are we going, guys?
Yeah, pretty good. Happy New Year to all of you. Looks to be back again. We met at Fusion, and great to meet you guys again. So hopefully the New Year has started well for all things ITSM.
I think so, Will.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone, and good to see you all. Most of you I see and talk to on a regular basis anyway, so except Suresh, good to catch up with you again. Yeah, everything's coming together, but I'll let Carlos say hello before we get started.
Hey folks, Happy New Year. Hopefully you all had great holidays, and thanks to William, Kirsty, and Suresh for inviting me on to try and fill in some big shoes, the hoop shoes.
Unfortunately, Matt Hooper, our regular host, is unavailable for us today, but we certainly haven't seconded or anything less than the best with Carlos anyway, so here we go. So Carlos, tell us what was the biggest thing for you in 2014?
A lot of stuff, but I think especially later on in the year, we started seeing a lot of the breaches across a lot of the retailers and whatnot, and I think that just really falls into a lot of what we've been seeing over the years in terms of organizations, in my opinion, not having a great handle on what's really going on behind the scenes. Obviously, that's kind of the area that I play in a little bit more with the config management, and I just think that, and we saw it across the year from a trending perspective. The big data, the analytics, the business intelligence, the discussions that we had at the beginning of the year and throughout, and you're hearing more people talk about business outcomes. And I think when you really tie that all together, the security breaches really tie right into that, as far as not really having a great understanding of what's going on from a trending on your network and whatnot.
Yeah. No, it's very. What about you, Suresh? I mean, there's been big changes for you coming into late last year and coming into this year with you leaving HP, where you've been for a long time, and moving out on your own. But what are your biggest takeaways for 2014?
Yeah, I think there's been a huge run through in the 2014 year. If I look at it, starting from attending a lot of conferences. I attended probably 7 of the ITSM conferences, and one of the things that I've seen from a trend perspective in terms of is this community. The service management community has been really helpful, complementing each other in terms of knowledge sharing, and that's been my greatest takeaway. I made a lot of friends across geographies, and that's actually given me a kind of real confidence to step out of my comfort zone of what I served with HP for the last 8 years or so, and then being on my own. But I've had a lot of insights from Carlos, from Barclay, and a lot of these people who have actually showered pearls of wisdom during the time that I've actually contemplated whether I need to be in or not, because it's a very risky turn. It always looks to be scary. But yeah, and then I see there's a lot of initiatives and stuff that's also kind of making us realize one thing, that needs to be a kind of a combined effort. Like there is the ITIL manifesto that has just started off again in a big way, because I think that's where I think the 2015 is going to shape across. We're going to have a lot more of synergy of people, of practitioners, consultants, trainers, and hopefully Axios supports us in this and blesses us with all the necessary support. But I think that's going to be a game changer, and for me, that's the looking forward aspects of making a good conglomerate.
And Will, lots of things happening in your world, ITSM-wise. Want to tell us a little bit about all things ITSM?
Yeah, I want to just do a little touch on 2014. I saw it as the year of almost separation of church and state. You look at all the different things that people were talking about, and a lot of people going in a lot of different directions. Let's just call it that way. like we had the big DevOps conference in October. Right, exactly the same time as Fusion, and I saw half the community that I used to see at Fusion or the other service management conferences at DevOps, right? Some of my present customers are, lean DevOps, types of people and consultants. They're getting a stronger voice, and it was funny to hear, and I don't want to say funny, but it was interesting to hear Suresh's take on the whole Axelos, getting, blessing us with their direction and guidance and things like this. I think it's going to be an interesting 2015 when it comes to what direction service management goes. All right, so and that's one of the reasons why we sort of wanted to, and Kirsty, you're part of this too, so you should take a bow as part of all things ITSM. But the market needs a place for information. So, as a lot of people know, and may know from the past, I used to track, 3,000-4,000 applications in a spreadsheet. I was one of those data geeks before it was cool. And I used to get demonstrations of products probably on a daily, if not, well, always a weekly basis. And got Gerard there. Hey, Gerard. We sort of wanted, Kirsty, you're part of this. You should take a while as part of all things ITSM. But
hey, Jared, have you got that running in the background there?
Yeah, so, we had the loop. People know and may know from the past. I don't know what's happening. I'm hearing myself. 3,000-4,000 applications in a spreadsheet.
Voices in your head, William.
We'll edit this out. Gerard, turn your volume off. Thanks.
It's on me. My fault.
So, one of the things, I always look at, answering questions for the marketplace no matter what we did. And, some of the things that we're doing with all things ITSM is, like, where do people go to read and learn from great thought leaders in the marketplace? Like, everyone has their own blogs and everyone has their special sites that they go to, whether it's their organization or their chapter site, or they follow some other thought leaders in the marketplace. But they're always spending all this time searching for good content and good read. We want to provide one place for good reads, right? When you're looking for events to go to and you're looking for things to attend or things to participate in, how many sites do you have to search to find where's the service management events, where are the help desk events, where are the DevOps events? We want to provide a single point of contact. Oh, geez, there's a service management term, right? For the marketplace to be able to find things to participate in. And then what we also wanted to do was tie in the vendor participation. As a former vendor for a few of the service management companies out there, service management platforms, it was always a challenge to be in front of the people actually looking for solutions. So as part of all things ITSM, we are building a directory of technology that will add value to the business from IT. So IT service management tools, project management tools, asset management tools, business process management tools. All of these things are being aggregated into one single point for people to be able to go to a single site and be able to drill down on what they need to find. So in a nutshell, that's all things ITSM, and we've been lucky that we reached out to 50 as a start of the industry's most thought-provoking thought leaders, I like to say, and people who are the movers and the shakers in the space. And we sent that email out last week, and thus far we've had 37 people respond with positives that yes, they will contribute content to all things ITSM. So we can sort of check off one of the boxes that from a content perspective, we will be a great site for people to attend. So that's what's been happening.
Not only have they said they're going to contribute content, we've actually got the content flying in the door now, so which is really exciting.
It's scary how fast some of these people have provided us with incredible content that now we have to obviously we want to make sure we're putting our best foot forward, so we're going to put some images to all the content. We're going to make sure that it's copy and edited, so that we're putting, great content out to the marketplace that people can enjoy and read and learn from. So that's basically all things ITSM in a nutshell.
I just want to take my hat off first off to James Gander, who I think has given us close to 10,000 words this week.
Oh, geez, yeah. Phyllis Drucker, Karen Ferris, Carlos Casanovas contributed, Mark Smalley, Daniel Breston is contributing. I could go through the whole list of Robert Felkowitz has a great, these are who's who of the marketplace.
Anyway, well, let's get off that and say hi there to Gerard. How are you today?
Hey, how are you? Doing well.
Yeah. So there's big changes for you have happened recently.
Yeah, so a little bit. Change roles, moved from Big Gartner to Sharewell, effective December 1st, and excited to be here. A lot of work to do. I'm actually at our sales kickoff event right now. I snuck away from the session to come join the crew. So thanks for having me.
So what's obviously big stuff for you in 2014 was making that move. What are you most excited about coming into 2015? What's on your calendar?
Really is helping take Sharewell to that next level. My role as VP of Product Marketing is built around product strategy, also assistance with marketing, Sharewell.com, community management, technical marketing. So a lot of responsibilities in that, but it's really making sure Sharewell continues to grow, continues to thrive in the space, continues to meet the needs of customers. I think the one thing you all have seen constant in this space is you travel through the community and travel to events. There's just an incredible buzz associated with the Sharewell brand and the Sharewell crew. So we just want to keep driving that momentum into 2015 and beyond.
Yeah, right. And so now where can people see you speak coming up?
I'll be at the Sharewell Customer Conference, the EMEA conference. So if there's any kind of Sharewell customers or prospects, I'll be there. I'll also be at Pink. I'll be at the Pink Elephant Conference the week following. Sharewell Maps is nominated for Innovation of the Year. So we're one of 3 finalists there. So we're looking forward to that event, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone attending Pink. We're looking at other events later in the year. What's funny is I'll be at most of the Gartner shows, which will be a little strange, a little weird. I'll be on the other side, but I'll be at the Gartner shows if anyone's there. We're looking at HDI. It's a possibility I'll be at SITS, and there's a strong likelihood I'll be at Fusion later in the year. And as things come up, I can be a little more flexible now, being on the vendor side than in the Gartner realm. So that by no means is an exhaustive list of where I'll be, but I know definitively it'll be those first 4.
Right. Excellent. So there'll be plenty of opportunities for people to hear your wisdom at events coming up.
Yeah.
And I see we have Mr. Stroud has joined us now. Good morning, Rob.
Hi, Kirsty. Hi, everyone.
Yeah. So welcome to our little group here, Rob. We've just been listening to Jared tell us about his move to Sharewell, which was it's interesting to see him there on the vendor side of the equation coming up. And so for you, Rob, do you want to tell us what's happening at Osaka this year?
Yeah, that'd be great. For those of you who are in North America, you're probably very aware of the Union address last night, and one of the key principles mentioned by President Barack Obama was cybersecurity, which has fundamentally become a primary challenge globally now. And this year at Osaka, we are fundamentally focusing on cybersecurity for our membership. Our membership tells us that the cybersecurity is a key issue and a key challenge they're facing, with a skills shortage of about 1 million people worldwide. So we'll be working throughout the year to help cover off that shortage And one of the things I keep telling the reporters and journalists is that for those of you in service management out there, this is a great opportunity. One of the 4 key skill areas is problem resolution after the event, because a key principle is that over time you just can't protect against every perpetrator who's going to get into the environment. So those of you with good skills looking for a change, there's a great opportunity here.
Yeah, that's a definite point. So now, how long have you been in the president's role at Osaka now, Rob? You must be getting through your first year.
Yes, so the Osaka International President role is usually a 1-year term, and we'll know next international president will be in April. So we're halfway through. It's been a great 6 months. We've actually delivered extensive publications in the COBIT range. We've had we exceeded every metric in terms of COBIT adoption last year, training, education, certifications, and so on. In terms of the second point of my term, we exceeded the number of audit and assurance deliverables, and of course the focus on cybersecurity with the launching of Cybersecurity Nexus, or CSX, with more to be announced on that in the very near future.
Yeah, and congratulations, Rob, for winning the Lifetime Achievement Award from ITSM of UK. So kudos to you, and we were there as part of the ITSM of UK, so it was a really special moment. Congrats on behalf of the team. Yeah,
definitely.
Bet you all didn't know that I looked like Colin Rudd when I accepted it.
Yeah, I think you got a little bit confused there, Suresh, somehow, but that's okay. So, anyone else? Don't let me do all the questioning there.
So I had a quick question. From a trend perspective, and we have a good mixture of people, practitioner, vendor, and kind of stuff. So what's going to be upfront the key trends for 2015? I hear what Robert Stroud would say about cybersecurity, resilience, but what's your take? Gerard probably can start with, because you have been on the Gartner side and with now in Cherwell. What is your take as to some of the trends that we can look forward from 2015 for service management perspective?
Yeah, I would say we're in a place now for service management to finally embrace consumerization, not from the understanding of we're going to support our users who have consumer-oriented styles of work and technologies, but from the standpoint that the support they provide is consumerized. Self-service portals look like self-service portals for kind of B2C support experiences. The help desk is engaging. The help desk is walk-up. The help desk is involved with your day-to-day business objectives and activities, as opposed to just focused on reactive firefighting. I think 2015 is the year you start to see these ideas and concepts bear fruit. One of the things I was focused on at Gartner through the last, I'd say year and a half, was talking to small groups who wanted to get that started, but didn't necessarily have the best practices to lean on. So, they very much were, pioneers or forging ahead just the same. I think now that there's an emerging and an adopted set of practices, you'll see a lot more organizations, both small, mid-size, and large, start to adopt these things. So I think 2015 is the year the help desk gets cool. It's the year the help desk gets out the basement. It's the year that help desk become consumerized and really part of business enablement. And I'm excited to be a part of that from the vendor side, but also from the thought leadership side in the way of helping people sort of navigate these waters in absence of a fully developed library of best practices in the way that.
Yeah. That's great. One of the things around that help desk side of things, it'd be great to see the help desk, service desk being thought of as a career rather than a stepping stone to a better place in IT. And I mean, it still gets that little bit of a rap that it's, if you want to get into IT, jump into the service desk. And so you you get people in the service desk who know what they're doing and are really good at their job, and then someone else grabs them and says, here's a much better opportunity for you. Does anyone here think there's any way that we can actually make the service desk a career destination? Is it ever going to happen?
I guess
at the same time, really?
I guess what I would
Really?
ask is, does it have to be, right? I mean, it is it could be a stepping stone, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, there are people that's what they're looking for, and that would be, you know, a great destination for them. I think what we need to do is elevate that position itself, and some of the stuff that, you know, like William brought up before, I think Gerard and Rob showed up, the DevOps aspect, how there's kind of a little bit of a split there, the security stuff that Rob spoke about and I mentioned earlier as well. I think if we can increase the level of education and capability of those folks, we don't necessarily have to look at them at using it as a stepping stone, but actually elevate the position itself. And, you know, from the old principles of security and layers, that, you know, I think that's a big piece that if they recognize that it might be more closely tied to a security breach or some kind of issue, we can start picking up these things earlier rather than later.
Yeah.
Rob,
yeah. Go ahead.
I just want to reiterate something that you and I were talking about earlier last week, which, and I'll let you do it, but I think you know, this conversation just tied in perfectly to what you and I were discussing last week. So go ahead, please.
Yeah, nothing like a side or a pre-conversation, is there? So it's really interesting. So I look at a fundamental transition or change in the industry has been that if we go back to the help desk, and I think we mentioned the help desk before, we tried to change the help desk to the service desk, and the service desk today, if you look at it, we are seeing a declining number of people go into service management now. Organizations are rapidly reducing the number of service desk agents. But that doesn't mean the jobs are going away. We're seeing people become proactive into service delivery. Gerard mentioned just a minute ago, you know, consumerization and delivery of service, and we're seeing these skill sets of being able to deliver service, build service happen outside of IT today. Now, those people are just as much service managers as we've taught to in the past. It's just their functions change. We've one of the things that Sophia has done, Skills for the Information Age, whether you accept it or not, has provided a career path. And I think we've missed that in our last, 23 years of ITIL, and for me, even longer with the IBM methodology before that. You know, we've got to provide skills, alternative career paths. And, you know, I've been into service management 4 different times in my industry. It's like security. I just can't keep away from it. But if we don't get proactive, and this is the point you're getting to, Bill, if we don't transition to be proactive instead of reactive, won't have jobs for much longer. We will just be log and flog service agents. Take the call, flick it across to someone else. And I actually visited a service desk that's like that this week. It was very interesting.
Mm. And talking about that whole career side of things, Rob, just one question, because I know you were involved. What happened to PRISM? Why didn't PRISM take off as a career path for IT service management?
Okay, do we want the public answer or the private answer here?
Well, no one's going to see this, Rob, so don't worry.
Yeah, please take this off the record, as he says in a Google Hangout. No, I think PRISM failed for one single reason. We didn't get critical mass, and we had to get critical mass. And that's one of the things ISACA has taught me with their certifications. You have to have critical mass, and critical mass creates a requirement for the certification in the workforce with employers. And PRISM was not wrong. PRISM was probably architected and architected very well. The problem is that we just never got critical mass, and I think there is a need for this in the service management industry. The reality of it is that maybe we've missed the opportunity. amongst this group.
Yep, unfortunately. So now I see the lovely Sophie has joined us from ITSMF Norway to talk about the upcoming conference. Which, if anybody, I know there's a few on this call who've been to the Norwegian event, and it's I certainly think it's one of the best, if not the best event out there. It's a blast.
Best
So,
party by far.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the best party.
It's all about the great hosts and hostesses.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
So, welcome, Sophie. And so the ITSMF Norway was it Working 9 to 5 conference this year is being held in the first week of March in Oslo, and I have to say, for one, I can't wait to get there. I've been there before, and it's certainly something to look forward to. So you're trying something quite different this year with the Service Bazaar, Sophie. Do you want to just tell us what that's all about?
Yeah, basically, we got the idea from Christian Nissen from CSM People. He had this Service Bazaar at their 10th anniversary in Copenhagen in, when was it? In September. And the idea is no PowerPoints, and he had 8 different tracks with 4 time slots, so you can sort of made your own program, and it was just amazing. I've never learned so much in one day before, ever, and I've been to quite many conferences the last year since I'm doing the Norwegian conference now, and it was just it's an amazing concept. We're trying it this year, and we are going to do it next year as well, because we believe in the concept, and Norwegians are kind of slow, so they might use some time to, get used to it. But we're going to do it at least 2 years to see if it sort of hits.
Yeah. No, it's certainly there's an amazing lineup of speakers, both for the Service Bazaar and for the conference as a whole. I mean, you've really grabbed the who's who in service management from around the globe this year.
Yes, hopefully. we tried our best.
And the interesting part is you have about 50% in English. So that's what William commented, that he would learn Norwegian to not miss the next 50%.
Yeah, I actually counted. I did a recount today, William, and it's actually more 60% in English. So,
I'm still looking forward to learning Norwegian. Okay.
I'll teach you. I teach you on Monday. No.
Yeah. People.
I mean, literally, this conference is being opened by a rock star, isn't it, Sophie?
Yes, we're having him over. It's just a big thing for us because both me and Dagfinn are Iron Maiden fans from growing up, and then there's sort of suddenly, all of a sudden, we could have Bruce Dickinson coming in and opening our conference like a real rock star, and we heard him speak twice before. We've been to twice, and he is just an amazing speaker. And he has so much to say because he does so many things all the time, and he's sort of gonna reveal some of his secrets on how to get things done and thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be really amazing having him there, and I'm gonna be starstruck.
Wouldn't
so
that
actually, for once, I'm gonna be silent.
No, never.
Wouldn't that be amazing for IT service management people to think outside the box?
Yes, that would be. So, preferably, he can teach us that, and he's going to teach how to how to keep Sophie to shut up, basically.
No,
just asking.
We wouldn't want that to happen, Sophie.
So just asking from a conference perspective. We are having Pink this February, and then we have the ITSM of Norway conference. So who is all attending Pink, and what's your, I know Gerard said he would be in Pink. I know a few of you guys attend Pink every year. So how is Pink going to be this year? Is it going to be different from the way they have organized? Any new things they're going to bring across for people who are not attending? It might be a good opener.
They have Larry King. Right, Larry King is keynoting. So
You're kidding.
No.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
no, it's huge. Larry King's huge, obviously, but it'll be interesting to see how they tie that into. Is it just an entertainment keynote, or is it, a knowledge gathering keynote? How old's Larry? He's got to have a lot of
I think
knowledge.
174 now.
174? I don't know.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but the scary part is that a lot of people don't realize how big of a conference the Norway conference is. And I was shocked to hear how many people attend, how many sessions they have, what the quality is, and everything like that. And then to realize that it's probably the second largest service management conference in the world. You could say, well, maybe, forget the vendor ones like the knowledge conferences from ServiceNow and the BMC engages and that. Those are, user conferences for specific vendors and their supporters. But from a pure service management standpoint, open to the public, general, this type of thing, it's huge. Like, Sophie, how many people do you expect registered this year for this conference?
We're aiming for 800, but
Wow.
I think we'll be happy with 750. But sort of our goal is 800.
Wow, that's a large
One
number.
thing that I
Yes,
would
and
add,
that's in a country with 5 million people. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess, William, the thing that I would add to that in terms of just the sheer size and having gone to it for the first time last year, wasn't so much the size of it, but the structure, the individuals, and how it's laid out, and the I don't know. To me, it wasn't a very commercialized type conference. It was very personal, family kind of thing, which is really different from all the other conferences that I've been to. So I would say that that's the biggest thing that I found really different was how comfortable and just like sort of personal and family oriented the conference was structured.
Thank you, Carlos. That's what we're working to sort of keep that in mind, because the conference has grown from first year they had 60 delegates, and that was 13 years ago. So it's sort of grown slowly, and now it's big. And now we see this year we have tried to professionalize some of it, like we're doing some press releases and stuff. But on sort of the theme of the conference and how we're working on that is still the same. And we're trying to really keep the good vibe in, so everybody will feel welcome. That's sort of our main goal.
So, Rob, you would have been to a few of the Norwegian events over the years, I imagine.
Oh yeah. Yes, that's one of my favourite events, always has been, and given I love snow, I moved to the Northern Hemisphere for snow, you're almost always able to walk outside and see a 6-foot-high bank of snow. It's great.
Except last year there wasn't a drop.
Yeah, the answer was no snow at all. Carlos was so disappointed.
Rob,
So was I.
Rob, that's the first time I hear you say you love snow. You got to be careful that people understand that you mean the weather, not
Easy to see you're on the vendor side now, Jerome.
Oh.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Does that make me more dangerous or less dangerous? That's what we got to figure out. So.
More fun.
More fun. There you go. Well, thanks.
But speaking of the conference, though, it's a fine line between the feeling that Carlos gets at that conference, the warm and fuzzies of the family, and then the commercial aspects. Here I am selling again, but supporting the vendors, right, in the marketplace on how they can connect with that, because that is a big challenge I see at any of the conferences that are out there in the marketplace right now. Like, we all go to Fusion, we all go to HDI, we all go to Pink, we all go to all the conferences, and I'm getting a little bored with them. what value are this is just me speaking, what value are they to the vendor community besides maybe a lead or two?
Yeah. For what we're trying to do is like we have all the social things are in the expo. So, and we don't have that many vendors. We have more like Steria and our sponsors are Norwegian companies with management, like IT management companies and outsourcing companies. And we have them too because sponsor beer. Come to the expo and get beer, for instance, and just hang around there, and people are talking.
Yeah.
And that's sort of, it's in the expo where it happens, except for the real big party. It's in a different room. But otherwise, you go to the expo and you hang out there. It's not like you have to walk far away to go to the expo. You are there and you hang around there. You talk to the vendors. You play with them. There are your friends. So everyone's there. So that's the meeting place.
And that's what I'm talking about. Is vendors are our friends as well.
Yes.
and the marketplace has to realize that, and I've been saying this for years since I was on the board at ITSMF Canada, is that without vendors, what does the community have? They support so much, right? And I think we need to find that balance again of how we play with the vendors, right? And making them feel welcome so that when you're on the expo hall and you're having a beer with them, it's not the sales pitch. It's a learning experience. It's an engagement, right? Where a vendor is actually going to deliver value to the person they're speaking to, not just buy my product, please.
Right? But William, I guess that all falls right into the same line with what the stuff we've been talking about even in general for service management, right? So if we're focusing on the outcomes, if we're focusing on the value that we're trying to deliver, that should be the bottom line and foundation of whether it's the tool you're putting in place or the relationship you're building. And that soft sale, building that relationship, getting comfortable with that individual as a person, you're going to be much more apt to listen to them and really take note of it versus what's on that marketing trifold. So I think that foundation is key, for all of those. I think you're much more willing to listen to that vendor if you actually trust them and you don't think they're selling you a used car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have any conferences. If you haven't got vendors, you don't have a conference.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as simple as that.
I think I was going to say real quick, I think part of it is just being an informed buyer as well, right? Yeah. So we know the internet's changed everything. We know that before you show up to a conference or before you want to demo a product, you know a lot about it. And I think being an informed consumer puts you in a position to go to these types of conferences and get a sense of what you don't know, right? Get a sense of what's unknown. And those conversations Carlos mentioned with the thought leaders from those vendors or with other individuals in the community make that much of a difference. And so you're not going to get that on the web, right? You're not going to get that on a webinar. Being there, immersed in that environment could be the difference between success and failure as far as a tool selection is concerned.
Yep, absolutely.
So, on that note,
I have one thing to say, and that is, when I meet vendors or hang out with them, I think of a lot of vendors. They are very knowledgeable people, so you can actually ask for help, and you get really good help. And I think that's even at least I do, and I always get really good answers from from HP and ServiceNow and everything on real problems. I get someone that I can actually discuss with because they have heard about them before. But that's just, so I like vendors a lot.
And I can just narrate my experience with running this ITSM of India chapter. I mean, it started out 7 years back. There was no progress at all, and then last year when we took across, I looked at my kitty and there was almost about less than $1,000. And we had to build a kind of a credibility, so we wanted to conduct a conference. Now, conducting a conference is not a joke. I mean, we just do not have any money to, pay across. So, and luckily last year, we just went across asking for help and support, and we got a lot of vendor support, including TCS, Manage Engine, and of course Axilos. And then we were able to put out a decent show. So because we got some amount from the vendors, we were able to reduce the cost, and we had to increase the numbers of people coming across. So I think for any of these non-profit organizations and some of these conferences, if it not were vendors, we were nowhere there, right? You can have the still of the great thought leaders and come across, but who will pay it across to come and speak across, right? So I think the kind of balance that needs to be struck, I totally agree with it. People often see them as a sales pitch guys, but they are the people who are closely linked with customers day in and day out, and they can provide with perspectives that are fresh enough and can give them a lot of insight for other people. So I think there's a humongous value of vendors, not looking at vendors like someone who's coming for a sales pitch.
And I think too is to remember with the vendors is the vendors are the people who give the thought leaders of our industry a voice. I mean, so many of the people that we look up to and we look to for advice work for vendors, and they wouldn't be able to be out there talking to the community if it wasn't for the fact that they were employed by a vendor who was willing to fund that.
Yeah.
I think conferences are an interesting, the way we get information, we touched on it earlier. If we look at events, and this is one of the things the Norwegian event does well, it blends the social aspects with the information aspects, with the just networking and feeling like part of a community. And if we think about going back to when I got heavily involved in ITSMF way back in the dark days, Kirsty, with you, the reality of it is that back then we were about building a community, about building up each other as individuals, whether you're a vendor or non-vendor, it didn't matter. And somewhere in the middle, we've kind of, I'm not saying lost it, it's become a little bit diluted. And that's our challenge. If we want people to gather together at conferences or events or even local groups, we've got to provide value for that group. And that value is not just intellectual property. One of us can turn up there and espouse all the wisdom of the world, but if people don't want to belong, they won't come more than once. And that's the secret. So if you ask me why I enjoy the Norwegian conference, it's that feeling of community. Why I take the trip to Australia every year, it's that feeling of community. And then, why I go to the UK, it's that networking environment, right? And you've got those three I attempt to get to most years. But it's all about the people aspect, and once you just look at the number of repeats, it's a formula we're attempting to get at ISACA as well, is you want people to come back, you want people to feel both educated, part of the community, involved, and that they have a say.
Right. Hey everyone, this has been a great first event for us for 2015. So thank you very much for your time. We'll just go through the crew, and any last words, Carlos? You're first on my list there. So anything from you as a goodbye to the viewers?
No, I think the main thing, like we were just touching on, it's a lot of it just comes back down to value, and whether it's conferences, personal relationships, from a company perspective, what you're doing, we have to just really start focusing on that value, what we're delivering, why we're delivering it, and understanding what it's the end result for your organization is or your clients. That's really what we need to get back to, as Rob was saying. We kind of lost focus of that, somewhere in the middle there. But that's it. I think if we do that through 2015, I think we'll all be pretty successful.
Thanks. And Gerard?
Just parting words of wisdom, or just what's the theme for this portion of the program?
A big Sherwood sales pitch. That's what it is.
No. I would say this for the folks listening: just become an informed buyer. Just understand that the marketplace is ripe with tools, and ultimately your success is all people and process driven. So I'm looking forward to 2015 and seeing some of the amazing and innovative things that end users do, and even the vendors are doing. I'm really excited for this year.
Over to you, Rob.
For me, it's the year of proactive service management, where we invigorate, get our swagger, and we make this profession really valuable again.
Thanks, Ron. And Sophie?
Well, my last words would be I have to come to Norway in March. to see it all for yourself. That's my sales pitch for now. But for 2015, I hope that the good community and continues to, for me at least, the community on Facebook and the community on Twitter and everything, it gives me so much value. And I know that I have all these amazing people that I can ask for questions, and everyone will just answer them the best they can. It's an amazing community, and I'm so happy and so humbled to be involved in it. So thank you.
That's great. Is there a business case template for that conference?
No.
Because I say so, Gerard.
Willie, I don't need a business case. I need a wife template. I need a wife case template. So you to build those.
It's a blank sheet, Gerard. Don't go there.
I'm just listen. We keep it real here. I need that template. So.
And Suresh?
Yeah, so for me, I think I'm really looking forward for the community at large to contribute, and I'm quite excited. This All Things ITSM is going to change the face of the whole episode. Now, it's not a easy task to bring in all those people at one place, and the intent is good, and there's a lot of support, and people want something good to happen. So I'm looking forward that to shape the next phase of ITSM in 2015.
Thank you. And Will, last but not least.
Scary year. I think it's going to be a challenge for the marketplace. From a vendor perspective, I think this is a year that things start equaling out, and some old school vendors move back to the front of the class, and some perceived leaders, start dropping back. And I think it's just going to be an interesting year that way. I think it's going to be an interesting year from the marketplace. I'm excited about it, and let's just hope we get through 2015 in one piece as a industry, because as I said earlier on, I think it's really going to be fragmented, and we're going to go off in all these little different directions, and everyone's going to go, well, who do we follow, right?
Well, thank you, everybody. And for me, I'm looking forward to a really exciting year with growing all things ITSM with Will and the rest of the team that he's pulled together on that, and an amazing group of people who've already offered to contribute. So, and really looking forward to being in Norway in March, Sophie.
Good.
Again.
We can't wait to have you over. It's going to be so fun, and I've heard rumors that Will might not be there, so we'll see what he misses out on.
It's
are
all
you
about
coming, Rob?
It's
Rob,
all
are you
about
coming
delivering
over?
value. If we're going to bring the team, we just got to make sure we're delivering value for the conference.
Yes. Okay.
And
Was that why you might not go, Will?
What was that?
Will's way of saying I'm not coming.
We'll say it. He's afraid.
Yeah, problem. Okay, everyone. Well, thanks for your time. This has been a great broadcast. We'll get it all trimmed and tidied up and get it out online as soon as possible. And we'll send you all the links to share it out for us.
Thank you, Kirsty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye, everyone.
Okay,
Bye,
bye.
everyone.
Bye.